Yes. So, welcome again. I hope you had the chance to get some coffee and cake. Are you ready for the next exchange? Hello, Kerstin. Hello, David. I don't know your name, so we are in a very small frame. Maybe do you want to say who you are and what's your name?
Should I start?
Yeah, just grab the microphone. And
Hello. Hello, my name is Patrick and I'm from Passau. It's in Bavaria, near Czechoslovakia and Austria. I'm here with my buddy Jacob. We are both at Musikförderverein Passau. We are working there for the musical culture, especially in this place. And we are here to check out some new stuff. Some colleagues from Zauberberg Passau are also here. That's a live club where around about 150 to 200 concerts take place a year. So we hope to bring a lot of interesting informations with us.
Hi, so as Patrick mentioned, I'm Jacob. We're both from the Music Association in Passau. And I'd just like to add that Zauberberg is also responsible for planning quite a lot of open-air events and festivals. And so what they've got coming up in the next couple of years, they're really looking to scale the volume and frequency of events. They've worked with a lot of bands, so I know that they've worked with bands from the Czech Republic before. I'm not sure about Lithuania or Romania. But they do tend to bring in bands from everywhere, and they're also open to pretty much any genre, I think.
Oh, this is good. Kerstin, say hello.
Hi, my name is Kerstin, and I'm a freelance funding consultant for musicians in Germany. And I think export is one of the main things they need funding for. So I'm really curious about the talk today.
Hey, my name is David. Like most of the people working in the music industry, I have 3 to 10 jobs. I'm one of the lucky ones being part of the Verband für Popkultur. We're organizing this Dialog.Pop. On the other hand, I'm coming from Nuremberg. I'm organizer and booker from Nuremberg Pop Festival. It's a showcase festival. I don't know if you've heard from it. If not, just go to our website, nurembergpop.com. I'm part of a management agency. We care for young talents from Nuremberg and Bavaria and trying to support them. And last year, I don't know if you remember me, I was I was invited to your wonderful festival, and I can agree that it's, in my opinion, it's one of the biggest secrets in Eastern Europe that this festival is a great one. The conference was wonderful. I met so many amazing people, and we are in contact now, and all starts at your conference. So thank you for the good times I had there.
And the music from the video was from the band you managed.
That's true, yes. Leak have been part of last year's festival, and they gave us a song for the after movie. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think
what I wanted to say, because it just came up, it's something that we were discussing inside HEMI, this European project, where we are colleagues, where there are 10 companies from 9 countries in the Central and Southeastern Europe, is that actually this region is a market of 140 million people. So it should be interesting, since like I said before, the Western markets are all set, and everything is like, everybody has its place. In our region, there are a lot of empty spaces that can be filled with, I don't know, cooperation, common initiatives or such.
I don't know. I just have a question before maybe we come to the questions of our guests. But you mentioned before, and we have been talking a lot about this, because Anka was 2 weeks in February doing a job shadowing at Initiative Musik, that in Romania you couldn't listen to Western music for 50 years, that's why you were so eager in. Is it the same in Macedonia and Lithuania? Or is it like...
No.
No?
No, we didn't experience such thing. I do recall some of the parts in living in Yugoslavia as well, but it was not like that. We had approach to foreign music. So
Yugoslavia was a special.
it's a specific, yes. So it's yes. It was more liberal and yes. So no, we didn't experience such a thing. And actually, I just what the previous participant asked. I think it's important just to point out that. It's normally that mainly the music industry and business is more approachable on English-speaking language if the artist performs in English or in those countries. But I also think that it's a harder way to do it in another language, but it doesn't have to be such a barrier. It's manageable. It's doable, and I think the audience is also a living thing that can be. Educated in different directions. So if you just approach it in the right way, it's also doable for for bands from other countries.
I can only say I've been since Saturday evening with the ESC contest. I am singing the Serbian song, and I don't speak a word of Serbian, but it was so amazing that.
That's also an artist managed by our company.
Really? Okay.
Balkan Mafia. So I always encourage artists that come to Lithuania to have at least few songs in their native language to perform. It's good to have songs in English, but also it's very good when you can sing in your local language. I think it's becoming more and more interesting to hear different languages, and even on the radio you can hear the English not so dominant as it used to be in the past. And yes, I agree. Lithuania is the same as Romania. We had those 50 years when the music was banned. So Yugoslavia was a different story. It was so West for us. Everything that was coming from Yugoslavia, it was sort of like Western quality and good, and they had special situation. But Lithuania, Romania, it was different for us.
Mm-hmm. So I think you had some questions before that. No? You have a question then, David, go ahead.
So what I would like to know is, on the one hand, all of you created this wonderful conferences as kind of meeting points for people from all the European music industry to meet and to learn about your country. On the other hand, as I was in Lithuania last September and I saw this really strong Lithuanian music scene, I was asking myself why I don't see these wonderful acts in the rest of Europe, except other showcase festivals like Reeperbahn Festival. I think you have this noisy girl band called Shishi, and they're traveling around. But what I didn't see was a Lithuanian band touring through Germany with a German booking agency, some other partnerships, I don't know. So what do you think, why does this part of it doesn't work?
Maybe we just need a few more examples, a few more success stories. But as I told, we already have one at least. One moment. I don't know if so. Let's listen. So this comes from Lithuania, and yeah, this track was #1 in Germany and Song of the Year. So I think we just maybe need a few more examples, not one act, but maybe few more acts. But we feel that more and more attention and more eyes and looks are on our region. So maybe we would like everything happen faster than it is, but still, when we look like how it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, so there's a huge progress, and this act is touring worldwide, not plays Asia as well, everywhere in Europe. So I don't know, maybe from that underground level, your way is longer to achieve credible success. But a few more examples and I think everything will be fine.
But I think we have to ask the same question for German talents going to all the showcase festivals. For example, in Eastern Europe, or I was at Great Escape last weekend, part of the Zeitgeist, German festival organizers, showcase festival organizers, and we ask ourselves the same questions, you know, how about German talents who have the possibility, because of Initiative Musik or other funding programs, to come to your country and to play there. And every time I'm going to a showcase festival, I realize that the audience is really cool and they want to have this newcomer acts, and if they are good, they make party with them. But we were asking ourselves, even in Brighton last weekend, how to become the more popular in your country and how to make the next steps for bands. Playing a showcase festival, for example, at Pin Music Conference. So what could be the follow-ups for them, which makes sense?
If I understood well, what would be the follow-up for the artists performing at the showcase festival, right? Yeah, but mainly that's the concept of all of the conferences, I think, those including who have included a showcase festival in their program. And that's performing in front of the VIP persons in the music industry. That means that the participants and the delegates of the conference are mainly bookers of festivals, of other festivals, promoters, media representatives. So the term showcase actually is that's the cause of it. That's the main reason why it's called showcase festival, because the audience is just an input more to those performances. But I would say that the follow-up is exactly that, good contacts and performing to the... I think it's important for artists to search the delegates who are going and visiting to the conferences prior to applying for this conference, because they have to have some sort of idea who they want to target as their next business contact.
I can add more, maybe. I think bands, first of all, need to be presented these new territories. And second of all, from my experience, they need to understand exactly what's a showcase and how they need to behave there and what they need to do, because it's not just another concert. It's some place where you are seen by professionals, and the result, the follow-up might be that you go and play in a big festival in that country or in another country, but you need to do some things. You need to approach the people you want to impress, search the lists, write them in emails, invite them to the showcases. I remember, I think I told Login when I was at PIN, it was the biggest number of emails I got from the bands at the showcase, really. I mean, like, and then unfortunately I couldn't stay for the showcase, but I think I got like 10 invitations from 10 bands performing at the showcase, and it's important, especially when you have a conference where concerts are held in several places, which are not really close from one another. And then you need to make sure that you are attracting the people you want to have in front of your stage so they can check out your performance. Otherwise, there's gonna be no follow-up.
I have a question adding to
If I can just add just one short note to that. But I think that the working process is not that fast, actually, in this business. So sometimes, yes. But the point is to have good connections, to meet the right people, to present yourself in front of the right people. But for example, I would just only mention a local band that we used to manage when we sent the band performing to a couple of showcase festivals in Europe in 1 year. Afterwards, we understood that they went there expecting to sign a record deal with Universal. So, and they came back like disappointed and like, why we did this at all. But in a long term, it proved to be a good thing and a good strategy. So it's not something that happens overnight usually.
May I say something?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say, because we discussed this at the panel at What's Next in Music, we discussed about how to bring newcomers from Lithuania, for example, or Estonia, to the Middle European market. And it was a really difficult discussion because nobody had a solution, despite we have all these wonderful opportunities for bands to play.
Mhm. Well, I was also wondering, I don't know if it's the same in Germany, for instance, you have to go through an agency. I mean, like applying directly to the clubs, it's really not that useful. I don't know. Well, from Macedonia, I understood that you are the person with your company with Password Music, but I don't know how is it in the other countries. Is it also like the way is to approach and to enter this relationship with a local agent, or is also there a possibility to say apply for the venues or the festivals directly, because it varies from country to country?
Yes, it certainly does. We don't have an agency or any institution of that kind that will be useful for bands wanting to perform in our country. So you go directly to the promoters of the events. So that's the other way. And that's one way, I would say. For us, it's the only way, because we don't have a state that's behind us when we promote our bands, when we try to export our bands. So we don't have the beneficence of travel costs covered by the state or something like that, promotions, nothing. So we do it on our own, and we still manage to sell bands and to have touring in Germany as well for bands and stuff like that. But then it's strictly money guided, I would say. So if you're interested for the audience in the country where you wish to perform, then you have to be in budget terms, you have to be okay for the promoter, so the cost-related question, I would say. So you have to somehow pursue the promoter that you will have an audience, that there is an audience for your band and stuff like that. And it's easier that's why I think the showcases and state initiatives are way easier. Because then you're just overcrossing this thing and you're dealing with strictly promotion, not worrying that much about who will cover the travel costs and the fees and stuff like that.
I think mostly the question was if you need a local agent to get to a local festival. No. Okay. So yeah, in Romania it's just the same. I mean, if you as an artist have an agent, then the agent contacts the promoters or the venues. But I don't think the promoters or the venues would respond to artists contacting them directly, because of course having an agent means you are at a certain level in your career, and it's about seriousness and the bookers being sure that you can do what it takes to be there in the festival. You do? No, I think in Romania and mostly bigger festivals do not deal with artists directly.
It's not necessary to have agent to get a concert in Lithuania. Of course, it helps, but it's as you said, you might not get the answer from the festival, from the venue, but you have just maybe then to be as persistent as agent to get it answer, because agents they do their job, and if you send just one email, you might not get the response. But basically, to squeeze into the festivals possible in Lithuania, maybe to earn the money is difficult, because if the band is not known, so then it would be very tough to get a fee or to get the like travel costs compensation. But to get into the festival is possible. Then you have to find the solution how to cover the costs. And if you do well, and if you make friends in the industry, then you can continue working. And the people that I have good relationships, I mean, if they ask to support them, to distribute song to the radios or to issue press release, so my company is doing that. So basically, there are more companies, and this way you can have your presence in Lithuanian market. And then, of course, you have to come back. But speaking about Germany, it would be crucial, in my opinion, to have something going on in Poland, because we have Poland between Germany and Lithuania, and you have to cross the Poland. Poland is huge, so it would be good for us the same. If we go to Germany, we work on that we have some stops in Poland to play the shows. So if everything's sorted with Poland, then Lithuania and Baltic countries is just nice addition, extension to the tour, and you can go then to Finland and make the whole Baltic circle, basically, to come back to Germany.
How is it in the other part, because Vilnius is in the Baltic area? How is it in the circulation of bands between, for instance, Romania, Macedonia, maybe Czech Republic? Is there like some collaboration between the countries, or between?
We have to in order to survive. And I mean, not just for bands. It's of course a better solution for bands to have those kind of tours, but it's also for promoters. For example, we always collaborate on exchanging artists and also booking same artists while touring with Exit Festival, in Music Festival. Those are Croatia, Serbia, in our case, Bulgaria, Greece, and Slovenia. So it's a nice Western Balkan tour, but it's convenient for everyone to connect the dates on such a tour.
So this means that if you get to convince or attract the interest of one of these promoters, this may be also the opportunity that they get also in contact with the other ones in the other countries.
Yes, and that networking, actually, the basic of this networking happens on these conferences and showcase festivals, because especially the region is there, and all the relevant figures in the region, and state initiatives.
Please.
I managed just for a short time.
Yes, no problem.
Saying goodbye, but like it's a bit
Yep.
harsh on me that I have to say.
No problem. Do you want to sit there? So we have all of four there. So.
Yeah, I guess it's the same in Romania, because every tour has to make sense, and it's easier when you make, stops, close stops. It makes
Which
sense.
would be the countries for Romania? So if you say.
Well, actually, we are in great position, because usually tours are coming from the west through Vienna and Hungary, and some of them want to get to Istanbul, so then they stop in Romania and Bulgaria and going to Turkey, because that's the terminal point of any tour in Europe. I guess they're coming from the west, and then they end up in Turkey. The problem in Romania was, until recently, now we are on the way to solving it. It was the road infrastructure, which was complete nonsense. That we didn't have so many highways, so it took like more than 12 hours to get from Budapest to Bucharest, which is 800 kilometers. You should do it in maybe 7 hours. But yeah, that was a problem for many tours with us, and especially with the smaller bands, when everything is more complicated. Then but Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, Moldavia, sometimes. So that's the area where we are playing. Yeah, in Serbia, of course.
But this is interesting, because we have done some kind of circuits, like Poland and the Baltic countries, and then the former Yugoslavian areas, and Hungary, Austria-Hungary, and on the way to Istanbul through Romania. We were just talking and asking about how are the possibilities for bands if they're going, for instance, to play at Czech Republic, which other countries could be around, or if it's also a question that I posed to your colleagues. in Germany, for instance, it's very important that you get to the venues and to get to the festivals. Mostly you have to go through an agency, so it's not used like contacting directly. And this was the question, if it's also the same, or do you need definitely an agent, a local agent in Czech Republic to play in the Czech Republic, or is there some way?
I think there are several ways. Of course, agent is good, but as actually I wanted to mention in the presentation, we are lack of actually agencies and managers in general. We have lots of talented musicians, but there is no one to manage them. So we are also working on this to support actually the management part of it with some new program which we do. So it's a bit different topic, but I think it's interesting. Linked to universities, so Soundcheck with University and Music Managers Forum together will have a common program to educate actually new professionals managers, like with already really established ones and successful ones, linked to the young people. So, and a concrete band actually, so it will be really concrete project. So as we are not working like that much, or we would love to, but it's not there yet. So the other way around, it works the same. So I think you don't really, I mean, it's better to have an agent who pushes and whatever, but I think it's other ways to get around. If you get directly to the festivals and venues, you can have a chance to be presented there.
Mm-hmm. Any questions or comments on that, David? You're thinking. And you, Jakob Karsten?
I had a question.
Yeah, but I think you have to speak. We're happy.
I think my question is not exactly to this topic, but I think, Anka, you mentioned that there's like open space and possibilities in these countries. What do you mean by that, and what kind of maybe collaborations or cooperations are you looking for?
Well, I mean a lot by that, especially now when so many people have fled the music industry, but I think that's a general thing. Well, I think we need more, we would need more managers, we would need more labels, we would need more PR companies. We lack PR companies a lot, and communication people for artists. So yeah, it's a lot to do. So many companies could be established with international professionals working in the music industry. That's what I meant. Even, you know, promoters, production company, rental companies, anything.
I'm sorry, I just didn't finish the previous question about the touring. You said which countries would be like if band tours?
Well, I was asking, I was wondering, because we were saying that, for instance, if you go to Vilnius, it's a good way to check how many possibilities you have, like in Poland, and then you have the other ones. And I don't know if there is like a special collaboration that if our bands go into Czech Republic, they also get to play also in Hungary, maybe, or how is the relationship, for instance, playing Bavaria is not that far from Czech Republic. I don't know, how is the...
I think the Slovakia is really the neighboring country, so I think the taste is pretty much the same, so if you can go directly also to Slovakia. But yes, we are linked to all the surrounding countries, so I think it's not really the issue. But yeah, mainly the bands are going to Poland and Austria from us, and Hungary maybe, yes.
Okay. Any questions from your side? I would like also to ask you, because some of you, I think not all of you, but I think 3 of you, you mentioned before that you are part of HEMI, and maybe you want to tell us what is HEMI and why did it came, and why are you working together in this HEMI project, and what this allows you, or what is the idea behind this kind of collaboration?
Well, actually, as I said before, the idea is that we have this huge market of 140 million people. And we would like to, first of all, allow our own musicians to discover it, because all the artists, all the artists in the eastern side of Europe are dreaming to go and perform and break the Western markets and the States and the UK and, become world famous rock stars. But we have this market which is really big and important. And so we are trying to move the artists around in our countries, in our events. We have this program called Hemi Music Awards, which is more than just appreciating the music that our artists are making, but it's also enhancing their opportunities to perform abroad and to make themselves known, at least in our countries, in the 9 countries that are part of Hemi, which is Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Macedonia, Serbia, Poland, Greece, and there's always one missing. Hungary? Did I say Hungary? Okay, so anyways, 9 countries. 10 companies from 9 countries, because we have 2 companies from Poland. Estonia. Estonia was the 9th territory. So it's a pretty big territory to move into. So this Hemi Music Awards, now this year's edition, it started with 300 and something bands applying. We chose in the first phase 27, and they are participating in some workshops, in discussions, networking events. And then from the 27, we chose 9, 1 from each country. And now all the partners are booking 2 of the 9 bands in their events. And in the end, the band that gets the most bookings goes for a performance at Eurosonic. So, but during all this period, because it started in March, I think, and it will end at the end of this year, through all out this period, they are going to meet professionals, going to workshop, have tailor-made sessions with professionals and experts that will provide information for the fields that they need to find out more, and so on. So that's what Hemi about. So, and the second part is also, of course, presenting this territory and the industries in all of these countries to the other countries in Western Europe. So that's how I see Hemi. Maybe Michael.
Yeah, I think the idea was actually to strengthen us, this region, and move it outside more to West, because it's true, that's a pity that we have such a big opportunities, but we haven't used that yet, so now there is a chance. And there is an educational part of it which I like as well, that it's not just that they will be booked, but they will get a lot of knowledge from international professionals, so they will get quite a good knowledge and know-how as well.
Yeah, and then this year we have launched another program inside the Hemi, which is Hemi Incubator, which has two parts, the Hemi Incubator and the Hemi Accelerator. And we have just announced the 30 companies that which ideas were chosen by us, and they will get help in developing their ideas. Of course, we are talking about companies in the music industry as well. And it's something that comes to mind about, presenting our territory outside. We had Scott Cohen. I told the guys in the coffee break, we had Scott Cohen at one of our conferences in 2019. For those of you who don't know who he is one of the co-founders of The Orchard, which was the first platform to distribute digital music. And he came to our conference, and then he stayed there every day from morning to the evening and talked to everybody. And at the end, he gave us a testimonial which started like this: who knew? Who knew that Romania has such a vibrant industry and so on and so forth? And it just got into my mind. And it's the same that we are doing with Hemi, because people don't know about our markets, don't know about our industry. It's a little bit foggy. And I've spoken to major artists touring, having problems with their agents to book them to Eastern Europe because they're not quite sure what's happening there, and they've never been there, and what I don't know, I don't want to find out. It's complicated.
I think also the structure
blah, blah.
wasn't there, so they
exactly.
had no idea where to find anything, So.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like the idea why we're inviting.
Yeah, exactly.
you
So
to
we
sit
want to
here.
tell the world that we have this region, and we are also professionals over there, and we have talented artists. Some of them had huge successes worldwide. Who doesn't know the Maya He song, which comes from Romania? So, so that's basically what we want to do.
But it was also in Romanian, so we were all singing Romanian when the
exactly.
came.
That's why we do this.
I have a question, maybe not only for you, but also for our guests, because we have here Passau, which is a lovely city with 3 rivers, very beautiful city, and just on the border actually to Czech Republic, and we have also Nuremberg here. I don't know if you have any ideas, or maybe you have any ideas. How could a collaboration? What would be necessary to say, okay, let's bring some bands from Bavaria, maybe to Czech Republic or to the other way? What would be needed? Maybe do you have some ideas? I think Monica wanted.
I was actually thinking about that because we were, I don't know when it was, this Mixmax in Dresden. I don't know if you know
Music
about
Match.
it. No, yes, sorry. I'm bad with names. But it was quite good, nice, even small, and we were thinking that we should really collaborate. But then COVID came, so it didn't happen. But I think it's such a pity because we have even this Czech-German fund and many other opportunities how to finance collaborations. So we do it anyway as a soundcheck. But if we found some other sources, which you might have as well, then I think it's quite easy. And Passau, everything, it's quite close, so why not to collaborate? But I think it's just about to get together and think about some project and apply, and that's it. Because I think there are opportunities in Czech Republic and for sure in Germany for cross-border cooperation.
And also I think it's easier for German artists to break countries from Eastern Europe than to break countries in Western Europe. And then you can start from there if you build up whatever following, whatever promotion, and then it picks up, then it's easier to, go and break a Western country with, already
so
something.
to get big in Eastern Europe first, and then
yeah.
go to the Western side.
It's easier.
Well, of course, from Initiative Musik side, I can.
We have these concrete projects, to have Czech and German band together, create together, or I don't know, can be even some cooperation between the festivals or venues, So I think there are many opportunities just to get together and, realize it, basically.
So.
Actually, Musikförderverein Passau, Tabakfabrik and Zauberberg Passau are planning 3 state festivals, so to say. So one gig will be in Austria, one gig will be in Czechoslovakia, near the border, of course, and one gig in Passau, either at Tabakfabrik or Zauberberg. And I know that this already has taken place a few times before Corona, of course. But that's one of the things we're working on. Also, Jacob and I are playing in a band, and we are playing in August on Stone Smoker Festival in Czechoslovakia. And the guy who organizes that asked to be our tour manager for a week in September. So it's pretty much about getting to know people, because if you know one, he knows another one, and it goes on and on. So networking is probably the most interesting thing. And of course, with such projects like that 3 states gig stuff, it's it's good to go because, yeah, you meet a lot of people. They learn to know the venues as well as we, of course. And we need, or I think we need very much more of such festivals or such things, so we could network better out. But we are planning on that.
Well, it's actually people's business, so that's how do you say? You know one, and sometimes you just need to also the time, because, for instance, I knew Anka like 5 or 6 years ago. We were sitting together at a conference, but it wasn't until she was 2 weeks in Berlin that we really got to talk about all the things that she's doing and all the things that we are doing. So sometimes it's...
That's why we need these events.
Yes, and this is why I'm very happy that you really took the long way.
And maybe the Provisit, program, which I said, this concrete, like trade mission, let's call it, even though it's not about business and such. So anyway, I have to leave because my kids are really
no
bothering
problem.
me. So if you have any question to me, ask me now, because then I will leave, or just contact me.
But will you later be around?
I don't know. I will try.
Okay.
I will try.
If we see you,
yeah,
we can pick you.
Yes, sure. That's for sure. You're welcome to catch me. But now, if you have anything in your mind, if not, then you find my...
Maybe we can share the presentations afterward.
Sure,
if it's okay for you, we'll just
can manage and
put a link and...
I would also like to have the presentations of my colleagues.
Yes, we'll arrange that everybody has... We'll arrange this.
So thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, Monica, for coming.
Unfortunately, I had to manage with kids because there was no other way, and Martin was also busy. So thank you, for my colleagues, speakers, and yes,
see you around, maybe.
And maybe, yes. Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Bye, Monica. Well, maybe we should open another panel about work-life balance with family. I think there is Marit Posch is running around in the conference, and she has been doing a lot of work in this issue. So yeah, I will introduce you to her later. So we have some ideas. I just wanted to say, as I mentioned this before very, very shortly, but this is the idea also why we expanded our export programs for Initiative Musik, because for artists, if we have league going to Lithuania, or if you are playing outside, we always have the possibility that you can also apply for funding. But these 2 new programs that we are doing, like for managers, it would be like, okay, David is the manager. He hasn't been to master in the music business or to PIN, and maybe before doing the investment to bring up a band, it's useful that you go there for the first time and you just make this network and learn these first people, so you can see, okay, if I'm coming next year with my band, I have already these contacts and they can already help me, because it's like the way to go. So I'm very excited when the program starts in June. How do you see the chances to make some collaboration? Have you had at the Nuremberg-Pop already some exchange? Or
I think this year is done, but thank you very much for coming here and all the discussion, because in my opinion, as you said, networking is the first step, and I think we should follow out just to find out what can happen. Nuremberg Pop is the 3rd biggest showcase festival in Germany, so with Reeperbahn Festival is the biggest one, and CO Pop. They have been really big this year too, and really, really good. And then comes Nuremberg Pop. It's small, but good too, in my opinion.
Say the dates. Say the dates.
The date is from 6th to 8th of October this year, 3 days, yes. And I think we should put our heads together and think about it. And I think you know that Nuremberg and Skopje are twin cities. So and I know that there's a possibility for me, the city of Nuremberg, the office who is responsible for twin city partnerships,
they have
asked me if I would like to join PIN music conference. So I will think about doing this, because...
Yes, I also thought about that, because actually the cities are having this obligation to collaborate with their twin cities. That's how we find out about Dresden. We didn't even know that Skopje and Dresden are twin cities, and we find it out when we were starting this first project. We worked with Kulturaktiv, an NGO in Dresden. that year we went to your town as well, just as a showcase for us how the things are going on in small cities which are on the border with bordering 3 countries actually, and that's one way. But there's also, I'm sure there are a lot of this kind of associations which are not used pretty well or well enough. You mentioned about PR agencies, but then it crossed my mind that we have the IBU, the National Association for National Media. Those fellows are the same who organize Eurovision, but that's not that important. It's important that this association also has a wild card from each country for Eurosonic. And actually the IBU medias are the ones, yes, the ones who should report about Eurosonic in their own country. Our national TV never does it. Never sends out band, and it has a wild card. Like every national TV and national radio can send one performer, one act from their own country.
I think in Germany it's 2 of them. I think
Maybe it's, yes, but we never used it.
because
Our
Germany is
national
bigger.
media never sent any band. As an organization, the first wild card to send a band at Eurosonic was to have booked. It was in CETEP program to have the most bookings done in that year to the festivals who are members of Europe, and we did that. So we worked. Sorry, that it would be a bad language. So we worked the hell out of it. Okay, so to get to this, and then we learned that actually the national media has this wild card just to send a band every year, each year. So that's like 2 bands from a country. So that's one thing. Now, another thing that I crossed my mind now is Live Europe. When you just asked the question, I was thinking about what are those other associations. Live Europe is an association of venues, of musical venues, mainly cultural centers in the cities in EU. So the venue where we actually held our conference, we of course privately rented, but it's a state cultural center, and it's also one of the member of this Live Europe Association. So that's also another way to have the venues all over Europe and to easily access them, because they also have this program of exchanging acts and performing acts. So I'm sure there's more to it.
But yeah, I was laughing because now I was thinking I'm afraid of which kind of band the Romanian radio would send if they knew they have the opportunity. But yeah, hopefully. But that's good news, and yeah, you gave me an idea. Thank you.
We asked our media if that's okay for you to maybe have an input how they work. We asked our national Macedonian TV about that. They said that like, please don't touch that subject because there's a annual fee that they need to pay. So that I think they don't pay the full fee, and that's how they don't send bands. But it's true, we were also afraid of the possibility who will they send. So
I see there is not really like an existing relationship with the music sector and the EBU.
No, the institutions are just not functioning as they should. But when we approach them, and that's why I mentioned this Twin Cities thing as a good thing, because they do have this obligation to collaborate on a cultural level. So that's an easy way to make some connections, because we've done it so far with Dresden and with Nürnberg as well, exchanging acts and stuff.
You have to check in Passau. How many twin cities do you have? I guess also a couple of them.
We have a few, I guess.
Yeah? How is in Lithuania the relationship with EBU?
All good, they pay all the fee and they send one act to Eurosonic, so we don't have that problem, I suppose.
And is it a good act, or are you...
Yeah, because our national broadcaster, they have person who is like director for popular music, and that guy is like 40 years old, so maybe in a way a bit snobbish, and sometimes it's, I would say, maybe too alternative decision, but can't complain, everything's fine with that. But we were speaking about our countries, and I thought it would be so interesting for me to hear. Now we said things, how is the situation in our countries, what's the industry and so on, but you've been in Vilnius in what's next in music. So this question is not for you, but what was, how did you imagine the industry, the scene in countries before coming here? So please don't hold yourself, just, or you had no idea at all, or so what was your idea about our music markets and maybe your expectations, and how it is?
So I lived in Albania for 6 months doing an internship. And during that time, we went to quite a few live music gigs and a couple in Kosovo as well. So I guess I have that as a reference, but it was very small. Some of the gigs were sort of really big international acts, like Akua Naru. She's an American rapper, I think. There were 30 people maybe there. And so I guess that's how I formed an opinion of kind of the Balkans and that area. And so from my perspective as a musician, I would have never considered to look at that area, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, when we booked Aquanaru at our in Skopje for event that we promoted, it was sold out in a couple of days. So, and it, okay, the venue capacity is 1,000, but it's okay. It's
better than 30.
But and now she is coming back again, so it's with a second show. But that's also. You always have to consider the fact that the economical situation is really different from in this region. So media as well, and I would say the capacity of the state involved in educating the population for anything that's related to that's culturally relevant. Okay, thank you. So it's similar, but it's not always the same.
So, I think you said that the state in Macedonia isn't really behind the music industry, but how is it in Lithuania and Romania?
So we have culture funding system. We can apply with the projects, and yeah, we receive some finances. So some money we spend for our festival and conference from our own pockets, but also we receive quite solid financing. Also, we applied to Vilnius City Municipality for some funding, so also can't complain. And the bands, when they go on tour, so they can, especially if they're a member of our Music Business Association, so they can get money from us for the touring. So, by the way, this year, if you would be considering also the application to participate at What's Next in Music is open. So this year we are going to do our conference in 2 cities because Kaunas is European Capital of Culture. So part of the conference we will move, at least one day we will move to Kaunas city, so it will be possible to see more, to see another city, another stage, and experience more of Lithuania and to travel in Lithuania to see more. So I would say more or less the situation is good, and I found just recently one old poster at my home. I was working with Pet Shop Boys concert in the year 2000 when they toured Lithuania. I was doing promotion for that concert, so on the concert was written that ticket price was from 60 to 80 litas, so converting to euros. So in the year 2000, the ticket to Pet Shop Boys concert, the price was like 15, 18 euros for that concert. Right now, the people are going and paying to Iggy Pop or Dua Lipa, the Nick Cave, they pay in Lithuania 60, 80, 100, 120 euros. So this is the face value of the ticket. So 20 years and this much the price has changed. Actually, beer in Germany costs less than in Lithuania. Now it's like cheaper to get drunk here than in some places in Lithuania. And like 5-6 years ago was still expensive for me, like to to buy drinks, and I thought it's quite expensive, but not anymore. The prices have changed.
Yeah, we have also a financing system for cultural projects. We have the National Cultural Fund, and sometimes the Ministry of Culture has some calls, like for example now, but the grants are not that big. And some of the local authorities are also having calls, like for example different districts of the city of Bucharest. They have calls for applications for cultural projects, and also the other major cities in Romania have these calls. So I would say that's a good thing. Also, there is this thing in Romania called the Days of the City, which is a festival which is financed 100% by the local authority, by the city hall basically. But the problem is that they are basically calling or inviting to perform only pop artists and folklore, and it's usually not very good. But the good thing is that people have free entrance. That's good for them. The bad thing is that everything there costs money apart from the music, and that is building some wrong perception in the minds of the people, that music is worthless. We have been fighting, and the Concert and Festival Promoters Association have been fighting a long time to end this thing, because it's also how do you say, not very good competition for the private companies to have these artists tour and get paid huge amounts of money for concerts where nobody pays a ticket, so the box office is totally screwed upside down. During the COVID pandemics, we didn't have much help from the state for the artists. So what they got was the medium wage, monthly medium wage, but in some terms that did not allow everybody to get it. And there were some support measures. There were 3 of them announced, only 2 of them took place. And there were for all the cultural companies, not only for music. And I think, yeah, even it was for the cultural sector, so even advertising agency, which is part of cultural sector, or even IT companies, which is also part of creative sector, could get the money. But it really went, it went slow. Like they had 12,000 approved applications. They haven't yet paid them all. I think they paid like maybe 50% of them. And that started in 2020. And now the Ministry of Culture has announced that they will have a new support measure program for the music industry this time, with 28 million euros to cover 20% of the difference of the turnover between 2020 and 2019. But we are still waiting it to come into force. Now it was just announced. So yeah, basically that's what's happening in Romania, financially speaking, how the state supports.
But is the audience willing to go back to concerts? Because I spoke to some managers last week in 2 weeks ago in Tallinn, and they were saying sometimes we get really zero box office, so we get some people coming because they're on the guest list, but very few people in Germany is willing to go back to concerts. I don't know if you can.
I think it's the same all over, because I have my friends, managers and promoters complaining that it was a boost of ticket buying after the relaxation, when the total relaxation started in Romania, which was in April, but then now it's going down deep. yeah, ticket sales are really, really bad. And we don't know why exactly. Is it that they are afraid to come back into, crowded spaces? Is it that they are saving now money because of what's happening in Ukraine? So there could be several, motives. I remember we had last year Tamás Kadar as a guest. He's the CEO of Sziget Festival. And he said that they had this meeting with 35 festival organizers, and they were confident that people have saved the money during pandemic years, and now they will go to festivals back and spend the money and whatnot. And I'm not sure it's happening, because I was talking to him this year, and he was not as confident anymore. So I think it's a general
maybe it's
thing.
because of the war. Has it affected in your ways? I mean, in Lithuania, for instance, or Macedonia, how is it right now? People
also the same situation. We had quite good support from the state, support for business. Like you can cover part of the salaries for employees with the support of the state, and also get compensation if you canceled or postponed events. Also some funding for new events, and so on and so on. The biggest achievement was that government changed VAT for ticket price. It used to be 21%, now it's 9%. So it's maybe
it's going to be definitive, or only because of Corona?
Because of Corona, but I think we hope that we will manage to keep it for longer time, because really they are supportive. They invite to attend committees and meetings. They listen to the industry side. So same story. Last summer was super crazy when there was restrictions were lifted. It was like, I don't know, every day, like 5-6 different concerts in Vilnius or other cities, and it was wild totally. Then ticket sales went down. December was okay. January usually is anyways a slower month for ticket sales. And then February came with the war in Ukraine. After that, 24th of February, basically for 2-3 weeks, ticket sales stopped completely. And now it's recovering, but slowly, but it's not going to be very successful year for the industry. And you have to, basically every ticket you have to earn, really. And I'm promoting international shows by myself. So comparing with 2019, so it was much easier to sell tickets, and it's very good that we have those the support from the state, because that lower VAT, it really helps to break even or to earn money and keeps it sustainable. But overall situation is tough. But I see that you're also very supportive. This mineral water is called Stefania, like the winning song of Eurovision. So everyone thinks and supports Ukraine. This is our main aim. And we are not the ones who have to complain, basically. We don't have rockets falling on our cities, and we don't have tanks in our streets. So we have some problems, but our problems are not big comparing to Ukrainian problems.
Mm-hmm. How is the situation in your festivals or in your regions, in Passau or in Nuremberg? Did you notice any? How is the attitude of the people? Because this comment that the people are not coming to concerts came from bookers from Berlin, but I don't know. Maybe in Bavaria, are the people more eager to go out to concerts?
I had big talks about this at Great Escape with people from Hamburg or Berlin, so I think it's similar to what you told, to be honest. We have different perspectives. On the one hand, we have the shows we booked before the first lockdown, and now we have them. We have this no-show rate, which makes planning concerts really complicated, but we also have a good funding program. It's called Sonderfonds Kultur, which helps us to bring live music back on stage despite we have this no-show rate or less visitors. And we have from the Initiative Musik the Neustadt Kulturprogramm, which helps to pay all your staff and artists for small capacity shows. So I think it's quite similar, and I really can't say how this will develop in the near future. In my opinion, we're standing before 2 or 3 really complicated years for the music industry, because things will change completely. I spoke to some festival organizers from festival like Southside Hurricane, and they were saying without any funding we have to raise the ticket prices because all of the staff wants more money, and there's too less staff. That's the next problem. So I think it will stay really complicated for a longer term.
Yeah, I remember that one organizer was telling me that because of this situation, that suddenly you have instead 1 or 2 concerts, like 5 or 6 concerts in the same city, that they really had problems like with technique, and sometimes they had to bring PA from equipment from USA or
from
something.
another country. Yeah.
So
it was like this also. But on the other hand, is also it's good because a lot of like technicians or those musicians who additional musicians who play with the band on stage, so they suffered the most during the pandemic. So the demand for them was really big, and I think they had their moment to turn money
after so many months. I think
because anyway there were some stories when like technicians or people working in the industry, they changed their profession and started to do something else. We have those stories.
It was
as well.
the same in Germany, because most of them were self-employed, and there was some supporting programs for companies, but not for people that are self-employed, so many of them had to change. I think we still have like 5 minutes left. The time went very fast. I don't know, Kerstin or Jakob, or I forgot your name. Patrick. Do you have any last question or comment, or do you want to say something? So.
First of all, thanks you all for the insights. I think it would be really helpful to get some data to have like arguments for musicians, especially when they apply for fundings for the international tour funding. Because, for example, I worked with an artist. She's like touring the Western, like US, UK, and everything, and she also has shows coming up in Eastern Europe, and she was like, yeah, should I apply at the international tour funding because it's not the first market? So to me, it's really interesting. So yeah, how to explain it to you?
This is something that a lot of people think. Of course, if you see the international music markets, UK, USA, Japan, it's like the Western Europe countries are like the biggest music markets based on figures. But for the international tour funding, this is not really like you can only apply for these countries. It depends on the strategy. Some of our guests mentioned it before. What is the strategy? If you say, as David applied for Wetsnet in Vilnius and said, okay, I want to be there, I want to explore these Nordic countries, or I want to have a showcase at Master in the Music Business or at Spike, because I want to use this area which has like 140 million people, and I want to use this showcase not only to go and have fun, this should be anyway always the case, but also to say I want to contact the local promoters, I want to see if I get maybe a label I can work with or some distribution. So it's not a no if you apply for other countries. We have been funding people to go to the Baltic countries, but also to South Africa or to other countries which may be small, also Tunisia, Egypt, which are not like the biggest markets in the world. But if there is a plan behind it and it convinces the jury, it's open.
Yeah, so that's what I thought or what I know. Like, I've known this funding program, but I think a lot of musicians or people who work with musicians don't know that and are a bit hesitant to apply for, like,
we're working on
countries.
doing like some kind of FAQs, and I think this is going to be one of the questions, because I get asked this question also. Or only if I only have, we had 3 bands playing at Tallinn Music Week, and one of them was hesitant because he said, I only have 1 gig. Is it worth? And I said, okay, if you're playing at Tallinn Music Week and it's an important event, yes, do it. And really, they got the funding. So.
Yeah. And also there's something maybe that the musicians over here don't know much about the market over there. So maybe you could have any like point of contact or anyone who could maybe just share information with them.
That was actually a pretty good point, both points. On the one hand, nobody who's making music really knows about all that stuff, at least the people I know.
That's why we are here.
Yeah, the most simple thing would be to create much more of these flyers and just hand them to all the people who are in some institutions that are bound to music or something like this. And the next good point was, on the other hand, that for us, or from my perspective as a musician living in Bavaria, it's extremely difficult to get information about the Eastern European part. It's extremely difficult to, I don't know, just to get there. I mentioned before that we're going to play in Czechoslovakia this year, and that also only happened because we played with a Czechian band and they invited us there for some instance. And yeah, I don't know. We've checked up pretty much internet stuff. We checked up many websites, but collected information would be really great. So just a few email addresses you could write to or something that makes stuff so much easier. And I don't know if that's possible, but maybe a way to go.
On this, I can also add that I mentioned before, we are also part of this EME, which is this European network of music export offices. And one of the things that we are working in is to make like a resource center. So, and organize also like sessions. We wanted to begin in April. It just got a little bit delayed, but we are planning sessions, not only with big countries like Germany or France, but also with small countries like Iceland or Ukraine was one of the countries that we intended to feature. Also Ireland. And the idea is to do this expanded, but these were like the first countries, and it would be like 1 hour and say, ask me anything about my country. So you just get like, okay, these are like our guest did today. These are the most important radio stations. These are the most important festivals. There are clubs. There are not clubs. And this is one of the things we do. We did also one of the first projects that we worked together and on behalf of the European Commission was a study about how the music scene or this music export scene works in every country. This information, this study that we did for the European Commission, well, we also had countries that didn't have, like Romania, they don't have an office, export office yet, but I remember that we invited Anka and Karina to get information from them. And these are also informations that are also actual, so you just can mail me, and I can also send you the links. And we try also, we have also in the internet side of Initiative Musik. I don't know if you get our newsletter. You should, because then we get always the information about all the funding programs that we do, but we also have for export especially which festivals are now having open calls for artists. We also have a list which is regional by country and by continent, with the most relevant showcase festivals. We don't do this with the dates because right now the dates are changing so much but at least you can see, okay, I want to go to Asia, which would be the most important, or I want to go to Israel, which would be the most important things. And well, this is one of the parts that we do at EME, because we see that even if we are all within Europe, sometimes the knowledge is not there. And now you have 4 people with names and faces that you can also ask them.
And also I can encourage you, if you thinking about the playing concerts in our markets, so you can just come to our countries, to our festivals by yourself. It won't cost you a fortune, it's affordable. And by coming to Vilnius, you can meet like the whole industry. And if you ask someone to point you to the right person, like you're looking for venue or festival or something else, so 9 people out of 10 will point you. They will be very supportive and helpful. So you just like a spy can come in advance to look around, to meet the people, and then next year you can just come with the band. So this is what I did in Skopje. First year I just came there by myself to look around, to enjoy the time there, to meet the people, and next year I came with the band, so I already knew how it works, how it is everything, so just I'm encouraging you to travel and just to come and to see everything by yourself, because we can speak a lot how everything is nice and beautiful, but when you come, you will see that it will be better than you expect.
And this is why also we had this new program that will start in June, which is called Go Export, because the international tour funding is if you are going with your band, and then you can go there, the band can be funded, and also up to 2 people, like the manager and sound technician. But if you only want to do research, this wouldn't be covered by the international tour funding, but this will be covered by this new program. And it's 1 person per company, or per band. And then it's always intended for new markets that if you have been going every year to Eurosonic, you don't need the funding to go like a 15 time. But if you've never been to Skopje or Romania or Vilnius, then you can say, okay, I want to open this. And this is because this is what it's important, and what was still missing. But you have to also do the research, as Anka said, before, during, afterwards.
Yeah, and as I said, this year we have Kaunas European Capital of Culture. So they basically, this week they started summer stage. It will be open till mid-September. So every day they have concerts, and they have international concerts, and bands from Germany are coming there to play. It might be too late to be on that stage, but maybe it's still doable. But for instance, Vilnius, my hometown and capital of Lithuania, next year it will be 700 years anniversary. There will be a lot of concerts and everywhere happening. So if you have ideas for the project, how to present yourself for Vilnius and how to promote Vilnius outside of Lithuania, so those projects can be delivered to municipality to be part of the competition and to receive maybe some funding from there. And so next year Vilnius will be very into different kind of projects, concerts. So keep this in mind. And
maybe we have some documents in the archives of Passau. From something you were missing.
Yeah. Maybe we will find out that Vilnius was established earlier. By the way, it's the first mentioning of. I'm not going to that, but it's possible that we can find something. Maybe we will find out that Vilnius was established earlier than.
There was a German going on.
But please don't do this until next year. We want to celebrate 700 years anniversary, and after that we can find all the necessary documents. So
I think we still have little bit more time because I thought we were finishing at 6, but I think we still have like 10 minutes. I don't know. We can. You have still.
To go back to like a previous point, you mentioned AMAs that you did with people from different countries, where they sort of spend an hour answering any question.
Yeah, this is a session that we are planning. We wanted to start in April, but we didn't, so it's going to start probably in June or maybe in July. But if you follow our channels, like on social media or like the newsletter, we normally give information about all the events that we do. We do also have a lot of info calls, which can be also attended by Zoom, about our programs, also by the artistic grants, the Künstlerförderung, and also for the Internationale tour program. And normally, if we do this kind of events, we then announce it through Facebook, Instagram, and newsletter. You just can see at the website we have like Termine, and then you can see all the events we are participating. And the newsletter helps a lot. Yes, we tried to make it useful, but it's right that not many people know this, and this is why we go around and spread the word. Kerstin, any question yet? Come.
Let me think about it.
David.
I just want to say thank you all. It was really a good discussion. What I was thinking about is why not try to build some kind of showcase festival map? I think Ines Festival tried something similar, but it's not in a good way, in my opinion. And this could be a challenge to make a better version of it. Just
well,
for
we
people
have a
like
list.
me who want yes, but this list, and it's not as visible as it could be, in my opinion. For people like me, because just to go on the website, see all the wonderful showcase festivals, just for a short impression and some links I can go deeper in, this could probably help. But thank you very much. I really enjoyed the discussion with you. And now I would love to come back to Lithuania. This was so great. It was my first festival after 1.5 years of lockdown, and it was the best one. We'll always have a big place in my heart, only because of this one. And I would love to come to Macedonia and to Romania. It really sounds very interesting what you are doing there, and I would like to encourage you to continue working there, because I think it's harder than we do in Germany, because we have the Initiative Musik and we have a good structure, and I really appreciate that you try to build some structures in your country. Thank you very much.
I don't know if you still have some final comments or some questions still left.
I also wanted to thank you, like I said before, for your insights, and also Niels for hosting this. And since you're doing like this event right now, I hope that the Initiative Musik will maybe do some more to encourage musicians and also business people to, maybe just exchange ideas with Eastern European countries. So I would just take it as a hint.
Yes, this is what we intend to do, to foster so much exchange as possible. So Jakob and Patrick, thank you very much for being there. I don't know if you still have a last question. Have some ideas. Just have to check which cities are your twin cities with.
Yeah, I also want to say thank you for all that information, all that input, all the networking so far. And we hope to see you there soon at your home countries. Thanks.
Well, then I just have to say, as my colleagues before, thank you very much. A very big thank you that you took the time to come here to Ad Egloffsheim today, and we'll have some dinner now together. So maybe if you still have a question, and we'll still talk a little bit. But it was great to know more about your countries and see. Sometimes you have like the idea when you were asking Vidas, which was the idea. I was thinking about how the North Americans, the US Americans, always think Europe is just one country. And I think sometimes you don't know, you have like an idea what UK is or France, but Eastern countries are really like very unknown, or Baltic countries. And this is a good way to know what are the common points, but also what are the differences. And it really makes like looking forward to visit all these countries and these conferences. Thank you very much for sharing your insights with us. And now, well, some dinner and
we want to make
a photo. Yes. Okay.
It's at the Kaisersaal. We meet on there.
At what time?
Now.
Now. Okay.